Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a guy out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
What's going on, family, and welcome back to another fire episode of Shifting the Culture podcast. I'm your host, Brother King Cam, and we are back tonight with our special guest from last week. We are going to be continuing our series on closing the wealth gap in Black America with our brother Johnny Stewart of Black Unicorn, family. So listen, get ready for that. You know, I want to shout out everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, who's tuning in right now. I need you to make sure that you comment and let me know what city and state that you're tuning in from. Make sure that you retweet. And as always, YouTube family, need you to make sure you subscribe, smash that like button, make sure you hit that bell so you can stay notified each and every time that we drop a video. All right, so we're not even going to belabor the point. What we're going to do is we're going to jump right in with our good brother Stewart, and we're going to get right to the topic and the conversation tonight, family. So go ahead and give my good brother a warm round of applause as he comes into the stream. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. So how you doing, Brother Johnny?
I'm doing well. The Lord has been good to me. I can't complain.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I appreciate the opportunity tonight to discuss something I think that is close to the heart of many of us, and that's about closing the wealth gap. But some of the discussion tonight is going to be a little upsetting because it's going to be hard to believe, and sometimes things that are hard to believe mean change is here. And so we want to bring about some change, but we're going to deliver some good news today about our dilemma. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, the scripture says, bring good news to the believers. So we look forward to that good news today. So last week, as I mentioned earlier, family, this is a continuation of our series of closing the wealth gap in Black America with our brother Johnny Stewart of Black Unicorn Factory. And last week, we learned about the different ways, or the new way, I should say, of being able to invest. And really what the Jobs Act of 2012 signed into law by President Obama did for our people, and how it tore down a lot of that red tape and a lot of the obstacles that was stopping us from being able to take advantage of those investment vehicles that was paying the type of dividends and the high interest that Wall Street pays. You know, so tonight we're going to be going even deeper into what Fanvesting is versus traditional investing. We got introduced to Fanvesting last episode, and we learned about how sweat equity would be able to equal a certain amount of, percentage in a company, and how that value was estimated. And we learned how we could calculate that value from having a certain amount of supporters and followers on your social media platforms and things of that nature. So we're going to be diving deeper now into the differences between traditional investing and Fanvesting. We learned Fanvesting is how you able to contribute to a following and gain equity in that company if that company goes public and becomes or IPO and goes public, and then you have a liquidation party, as we know, versus the traditional methods of investing as well. So, Brother Stewart, why don't you take us into that tonight?
Well, most of us are not really aware of the Jobs Act, which means Jumpstart Our Business Startups Act passed into law under President Obama. One of the parts of the law, which is there were seven parts of the Jobs Act. Tonight, I want to discuss the seventh part. And the seventh part of the Jobs Act said, tell us of the changes in law. The thing about that, why would they mandate in a law that when we change this law, I want an emphasis upon telling the minority community? Because something that the minority community was not aware of, they haven't been aware of it because the law did not allow you to be aware of it.
Mm.
So this disadvantage, financial disadvantage that was passed in 1933, I want to discuss why you have to be made abreast of this thing. And tonight it's going to upset some people. If I had the ability to show you on, visuals, I would actually bring you in and show you exactly what I'm talking about because I'm kind of a, proof is truth type person.
Yes, sir.
And I like a person to be able to see for themselves. And so one of the things I want them to understand is that when President Obama passed the Jobs Act, the last law in the Jobs Act, which is seventh part, he said, tell minorities of the changes in law. The thing is that what I'm going to discuss with you tonight is going to upset you. It upsets most people because when they find out the advantage that was given to the rich and the disadvantage that it made to the rest of America, you'll see why there's a wealth gap altogether. But President Obama and the Jobs Act, it will actually close the wealth gap if we just take advantage of the law that is passed. So let's get right into it. The Jobs Act uh, broke down a wall that gave those who are already rich, already powerful, the ability to invest in pre-IPO companies. Pre-IPO companies are companies that are not on the stock market yet. They're going to the stock market, but they're not there yet. This investing in pre-IPOs is the most lucrative form of investing there is in the world. Most people are not aware that the amount of percentage of returns that can be made. This is why in the law it said tell them of the changes in the law. Because when you find out that you were making 4% on your CD at the bank, but that because a person was an accredited investor, he was able to make 100,000% on his money, you would think that would be criminal to give someone that type of financial advantage over you.
Mm.
Why should you get 4% and someone who's already rich get 100,000%? And you might be thinking, well, you're kind of exaggerating. What you really mean is 1,000%, bro, Stewart. I'm like, no, I said it clear. I didn't stutter, did I? I said a
No,
hundred
sir.
thousand percent, and that's just a small end. If you go and want to research what I'm saying tonight, there's a website called Angels and Entrepreneurs Network. That website has three celebrities on there, and these celebrities, you know them. Most people know them. It's called Shark Tank. On Shark Tank, you have four men that are on there: Mark Cuban, Robert Herjavec, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, and you have Damon John. Three of them are on this website, and they're trying to tell you that there's a 100-year secret that has been hidden from the public. That only because
Mm.
of President Obama passing the Jobs Act, you're able to know about it. See, you didn't know that the rich were given such a financial advantage. You heard that old saying, the rich get richer. Well, the law was actually helping them get richer
Wow.
because they let them make astronomically high returns on their money and told you you couldn't do it. Is that fair? I thought America was a land of equality, but it
That's what they
wasn't.
say.
They passed in 1933 a law called Regulation D. Read it. Regulation D set up financial segregation in America. It said those people who are accredited investors or people with a seven-figure net worth, they can invest in pre-IPOs, and everyone else in the nation cannot. So they gave an advantage to the rich, and to the rest of the nation, you had to go out and get a job and work hard. So therefore, the rich also were permitted under Regulation D to involve their family and friends in their offering. So their family and friends didn't have to be rich. All they had to be was a family and friend of somebody who was.
Mm.
That also made them and their community rich as well. And since we were ostracized and were not given access to be a part of their community, we suffered because they were given financial advantages that other communities were not able to get. You have to understand they've been playing dirty pool for a long time.
Mm.
And one of the last things that anyone ever knew about was Regulation D. Tonight, I'm exposing Regulation D. The Regulation D, many in my classroom have asked me, Brother Stewart, yes, what does D stand for? I said A, B, C, D. And they're like, no, that's not what it means. I think it stands for discrimination because
Mm.
that's exactly what it did. It made what the rich gave them opportunities and access and gave them the ability to get hundreds of thousands of percent on their money. And I know it sounds incredible. That's why I said if you go there, Damon John right now has a book called 1000X Formula. In his book, he writes about how you can make 1,000 times your money. Now, 1,000 times your money, if you want to know what that is, that's 100,000% on your money. And Brother King, there's
Mm.
very few investments in the world that will pay you 1,000%. You can do construction, you can do all types of bitcoins and all those things, but there are very few investments in this world that can top a pre-IPO investment. And so what we're trying to do is say we can close the wealth gap if we can get our community to pre-IPO invest. And one of the things most people in our community are afraid of is because they're afraid to lose money. And I understand, we're trying to take care of the family. We
Right.
got bills to pay, and things like that. But what if there was a way to do pre-IPO investing, but you didn't have to put a dime in? Wouldn't that be something?
Uh oh.
How
Uh
are you
oh.
going to lose if you don't put no money in? My whole thing that I want people to understand is that after we have this discussion tonight, we need to have another discussion. Because when you next time that you put your money into something, ask yourself, did you make 100,000%? Because you could have.
Mm.
Today, when you get a chance to see those men on Shark Tank, Robert Herjavec, Damon, and Brother
John.
Damon that's
Damon.
on there,
Damon John. Mm-hmm.
yeah, Damon John, they are all trying to tout that this has been a secret since 1933. But President Obama deregulated Regulation D, 30D and allowed you to invest in the most lucrative investment in the world. And as I said, if you find anybody out there that can show you where they can make over 100,000% on their money, please email me because I'd like to know. Because nothing that is out there can make you richer faster than pre-IPO investing, and you didn't know it until now. This is why President Obama said, "Tell my people, the minority." Because they don't know that they could actually close the wealth gap. And I say this because Jay Clayton, who is a former SEC chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission, during one of his speeches, and I showed this in my class, he indicated that if average Americans could invest in these pre-IPO companies, the wealth gap would close. You see, they know what will close the wealth gap. All we have to do is wake you up. And if we wake you up and you realize, I'd like to get 100,000%, but let's take a look just for a minute, Brother King.
Yes,
What
sir.
does 100,000% look like? Well, I want you to do this. Take your rent right now, multiply it times 1,000, and tell me what you come up with. Did you come up with enough money to buy a house?
Mm. Hold
I
on. Let
think you
me
might. You may have, but some of you
down to
got
thousand.
got high taste. But a
Oh
thousand
yeah.
times your money just once
Right.
could pay your house off. And then what do you think you would do if you made 1,000 times your money on one company going public? You think you'd do it again? Think about it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So my whole thing is, but one of the things that we have an impediment in investing is we think, well, I don't really have the money. I'd like to invest, but I don't have the money. Black Unicorn Factory created an app called Follow Me for Equity. You can go to the App Store, the Google Play, and Android app, and Google Play, as well as the Apple App Store, and download the app. It's simple. All you do is follow a company on social media, and it's within 30 seconds of saying yes, you're a shareholder, a valued shareholder in that company. Now, investing is no longer about how much capital you got, it's whether you can click or not. The thing is, I know that almost 87% of those that are walking around right now got a phone. Even homeless people have phones nowadays because of the Obama phone. So, and if you got a
Right.
phone, you have the ability to invest. There's no reason why you can't, because you can no longer say, I don't have any money to invest, but I'd like to, because no, that's not possible. Because now you can invest by just downloading an app. Did you understand how revolutionary that is?
Mm.
Why did we create this app? Because we want our people to close the wealth gap, or at least narrow it. But we have to stop with these antiquated ways that we've been taught. We've been taught these old ways that haven't changed anything since 1863, when they passed the Emancipation Proclamation. Our community was the poorest community in the nation. And guess what? In 2024, guess who's still the poorest community in the nation? We
Black
are
people.
what has become a
Black America.
stagnation, a nation of people that have not moved financially, economically, because why? These misleaders. That's what it is, because the king. These
Mm.
misleaders have misled us into believing that their antiquated, old, outdated strategies work. They don't work. When are you going to be honest enough to admit it to yourself? They even say, if you're going to be true, be true to oneself. Above all things, be true to oneself, and don't lie to yourself. If something's not working, just admit it's not working. You see, because if going to college closed the wealth gap, then we wouldn't be
Shoot.
in last, would we?
That's right.
If
Because we
starting
go to
businesses
college.
that fail 90% of the time would close the wealth gap, then we wouldn't have the wealth gap getting bigger. If home ownership turned around, and as they tell you, we all need to be homeowners, that'll close the wealth gap. No, it won't. Because since the 60s, the percentage of home ownership for blacks has been 33 to 36%. And guess what? Since the 60s, it's still 33 to 36%.
Mm.
Ain't nothing changed. The
Mm.
thing is our ideas that we have haven't changed. We have to have a new weapon in this war on poverty. We have to turn around and take something that is revolutionary, different, unorthodox, and we have to implement it. Because, like I said, right now, people are smiling, but they're not really smiling on the inside. They just smiling on the outside. You
Yes,
see, a
sir.
lot of people's self-worth is tied to their net worth. If they don't have anything, they don't feel like they're anything. And I know, Brother King, that in order to change my community, I got to change their money. Because like
Absolutely.
Snoop Dogg said in his song, I got my mind on my money and my money's on my mind.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
that money is on our mind all the time. And the only way to change our people's minds, you're gonna have to change their money. And that's what we intend to do when you download that app from Follow Me for Equity. I intend to change your money. And once we change a community a way to invest, giving them a shot at hundreds of companies, not just one, hundreds of companies to download. Well, a lot of home ownership. And like I said, we're going to turn around and change some things, because in our effort to get us to invest, that's the only weakness that we have is investing. We're getting beat on investing.
Yes, sir.
76% of the wealth of America is in stocks, not real estate, not oil, and all these other investment vehicles. Stock has made more billionaires and millionaires than any investment vehicle of all time.
Mm.
So while they were telling us about 40 acres and a mule, well, guess what? They were investing in Wall Street, because I don't know if you noticed, but New York Stock Exchange has been around since 1792. So
Mm.
therefore, they've been investing for a long time. While they tell you to work hard, they was turning around investing,
Yes, sir. So let me jump
making
in.
money the easy way. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Let me jump in here real quick because we got some, some of the family tuned in. So I just want to shout them out real quick. Shout out to Sister Mecca. Shout out to Brother Nathan Fields, who tunes in each and every week. So shout out to the good brother. Shout out to Noonie. That's New Orleans in the building. So shout out to her for joining us tonight. And Sister Sinitria. I think I pronounced that right. I hope I ain't
Nice to
butchered.
meet you.
But she's tuning in as well. So if you look up on the top of the screen, family, I believe it's in the left hand corner. You'll be able to see the barcode, or you able to hit the barcode up here for Black Unicorn, and you able to it'll take you right to to follow me for equity, right? So as soon as you hit that, it'll take you directly to the app, right? So I got y'all set up tonight. And also, Brother Stewart mentioned the book by Damon John is here up on the screen as well. 1000x investing formula by Damon John is right here. So
Yeah,
you see that, and then you also see the other book called Investing in Private Startups could 1000x your money.
that's right.
Investing in private startups could 1000x your money. So you see this,
Hmm.
these books are available that you can go and you can read exactly what Brother Stewart is talking about. So just wanted to let the people know about that, Brother Stewart. And let me go ahead. It's the right hand. Sister Noonan helping me out. Yeah, it's the right hand corner. So if you're in the right hand corner, you'll be able to hit that QR code up there and it'll take you right to the app. Okay, because the way I'm looking at it, I don't know which way it is,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
it's up there. All right. So yeah. So these right here, these books that are up here prove that you can make 1,000 times your money in these investments, in these IPO investments. So I wanna read something as well that I was looking up while you was talking, Brother Stewart, and it says the U.S. can battle wealth inequality by letting startups IPO earlier. We are holding back the middle class in America, but it's not for the reasons you think, and the culprits are not those most people think of. Rather, the U.S. government has systematically cut the middle class out of the most important wealth creation opportunity for the next 50 years. Through a series of Byzantine regulations, the government has made it virtually impossible for working Americans to enjoy the fruit of America's greatest strength, innovation. Over the past decade or so, regulatory changes have reduced the frequency with which the stocks of high growth companies get offered to the public during their most dramatic phases of growth. That prevents ordinary investors from getting in on the wealth creation and hampers the creation of middle class jobs. Fortunately, there's a simple solution. We'll get to that shortly. For first, but look at the cases of two companies founded by Harvard dropouts. And I think we talked about these companies last episode, but we're gonna bring them up again. It says that Microsoft went public in 1986 at roughly a $500 million market cap. Today, Microsoft has a market cap of $234 billion. Thus, the public investors in Microsoft have had the opportunity to realize $235.5 billion in market cap appreciation, and the private investors had only a $500 million head start. From IPO, a single share of Microsoft stock has appreciated close to 500x. So Damon John talked about 1,000x. This right here talked about how you able to get 500x in Microsoft. And then it says that Facebook, by contrast, went public in 2012 at a roughly $100 billion market cap. That means that whatever public stock price appreciation Facebook has over the coming years, private investors have had $100 billion head start against the public investors. Even if you were prescient enough to buy Facebook at its public low of approximately a $50 billion market cap, then private investors remain ahead. If you bought Facebook stock at its IPO to realize a similar multiple that Microsoft's public shareholders have earned, Facebook's market cap would need to reach nearly 550 trillion, roughly the size of the total market capitalization of all publicly traded companies in the world. So what does that say? What does that mean? That is saying that because you was not able to get in at IPO, you lost out on the opportunity to get these high earning potential, And this is just an example of what Brother Stewart was talking about. So I just wanted to mention that, Brother Stewart, and you can get back to it because, they tell you that in order to build wealth, you need to purchase a house. Or in order to build wealth, you need to go to college. So, talk to us about those traditional methods and why they're not currently working. I know you just mentioned that, we've been buying houses. We've been doing that. We've been going to college. but why isn't the wealth gap
Mhm.
closing? And what makes this different?
Well, yeah, the biggest impediment in a lot of these investments is time. If you want to buy a house and everything, things like that, that's good, but it's going to take you time. And time is a very valuable thing. You can't get it back. Of course, we know we can always make more money, but we can't make more time. Over the period of maybe 30 years, a person is going to pay for a home at least two and a half times. It's what the purchasing price is in maintenance and other things like that. So you're actually going to end up, but it's going to be 30 years later. And considering the fact that you're going to have to, when you take money out of it, the cost of living is much higher. And also in things like that that you spend over the years, you really lost money.
Mm.
So it's not, and you have to remember in wealth, the evaluation of wealth, to be an accredited investor, listen to the definition. It is to have $1 million dollars in assets,
Yep.
not counting your primary residence. So even if we were counting to become an accredited investor, which that's what the law allows, it allows accredited investors, that's what they call rich, is accredited investors. You couldn't even use your house to qualify to invest in these investments. You see? So even though we would like to invest, even if you had a house that was paid off, you couldn't use it. You have to have some other investments. But in our community, our biggest investment, but it's also our biggest, thing that we kind of wasted money on in many cases, is the home.
Right.
But at the same time, these other investments are good investments. Don't get me wrong. It's something that you can do, but you're losing money. But the biggest thing that you have is time. They're slow. When you're talking about utilizing pre-IPO investing, you're like in a person that's driving a Bugatti, a car that can do 270 miles per hour. But what they're telling you to use is a moped. So you're gonna
Mm.
get to the same place, but it's gonna take us quite a bit longer.
Yes,
You
sir.
see, investments are referred to as vehicles, and some vehicles are faster than others. The rich are using a vehicle that has a lot of horsepower and can go extremely fast. Whereas the investment vehicles that they allow us to be a part of are basically no more than mini bikes and mopeds.
Wow. And I
So
was
we
always
will make
wondering.
money, but it's going to take a long time. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
The thing is, I know, Brother Cam, it's hard to understand this type of thing where people are saying that's too good to be true to make 1,000 times your money. Let me say something, and I want you to get your feedback. When somebody says that something sounds too good to be true, here's what they really are saying. It's too good for you. See what is
mm,
happening? They want you to stop assuming and just, don't run with your assumption. Don't go in and with an assumption and just say, no, it's just not true. It's just not researching. You have to sometime go against your own disbelief and go and check things out to see if it's true. Those type of mottos are what teach poor people to be poor. Is that when you find something that's too good to be true, just don't believe it. Well, they're really saying it's too good for you. I don't think that 1,000 times your money is too good for you. I think that it's been time. It's been time for this to come. It's time for you to take advantage of this. The wealth gap is getting bigger and bigger. AI is taking jobs every day. And wealth, and like I said, poverty is knocking more of our community off every day than any other type of impediment in our a social ill there is. They are talking about police brutality, Brother King.
yes,
Poverty
sir.
is killing more of us than gang violence, police violence, or, or even going to prisons. Poverty is destroying families, breaking up marriages, turning around and keeping people out of college, and people even living shorter lives because they can't eat right and get the proper medical attention. Poverty is doing more to us. We have to have this new governmental program called the Jobs Act. We now, for the first time in almost 100 years, we finally have governmental inertia behind us, and we can do this. This is doable. And so, therefore, like I said, I challenge anyone out there to find a better investment strategy than investing with no money at all in pre-IPO companies, which are the most lucrative investment in the world.
Yes,
And
sir.
like I said, we're going to take the charge and put it out there in the community, brother Cam.
Yes, sir. So all right. So let me ask you this. because I was just reading this and I want to get your feedback because it was right on the money. Okay, so it says because you brought up time, right? And that's one of the biggest impediments and one of the things that we're not able to get back. So it says in the same article I was reading earlier, because IPOs democratize wealth creation and create jobs for 99.9% of Americans who are unlikely to be the next Zuckerberg, fueling long-term economic growth for the country and guaranteeing access for all to the American dream. Indeed, we are quickly creating a two-tiered investment market, one for wealthy, accredited individuals and financial institutions, and a second for the remaining 96% of Americans. If you are an accredited investor, which you mentioned earlier, which the rules define as someone with an annual income of at least $200,000 or a net worth of $1 million, you can buy or sell privately held stock of high-growth startup companies via exchanges such as Second Market and Shares Post. If you are an accredited investor, you can become a limited partner in one of the over 400 venture capital firms that invest in such companies. If you are an accredited investor, you can buy privately held stock of such companies directly from the issuing companies themselves. However, if you are among the 96% of Americans that are not accredited investors, you can wait the 9.4 years that it takes for the average startup to go public and miss out on all the price appreciation in the private markets that ensures the benefit of the accredited investors. Despite the very positive changes introduced by Congress via the 2012 Jumpstart Our Business Startup Act or Jobs Act, the middle class remains sidelined. On the one hand, the Jobs Act potentially exacerbates the already long time to the IPO problem by increasing to 2,000 the number of shareholders a private company may have before it is required to report as a public company. Yet in the Jobs Act, we welcome the 96% least wealthy Americans to invest via crowdfunding in the absolute riskiest stage of a new company formation, early seed stage finances. However, somehow we have concluded that unaccredited investors should be able to likely lose their hard-earned money by investing in the most risky of asset classes. Yet precisely as the risk diminished dramatically in the subsequent stages of a company's development, the spoils go only to the wealthy. So this is what, Stuart, what you were highlighting was the advantages here. The advantages of being able to crowdfund because of the Jobs Act that would allow us to diminish the risk that's normally associated with this type of investment vehicle because of the high returns, that's associated with it. So really, this is the opportunity. This is the opportunity that has that we've been missing all along. This is the opportunity we've been missing all along. And this right here, family, is something that you can go back and research. Like I said, I'm reading this verbatim off of this article, and Stewart is here helping us, giving it to us in the plainest and simplest of terms on how we can now get into crowdfunding through Fanvesting and able to increase the value of a company, diminishing the risk without even having to pay any money. And then once you reach those 2,000 shareholders, now you go public. And once you're required to go public, now you're able to reap the benefits from that. So this is one of the biggest ways that we're able to reduce that wealth gap that we have been experiencing here in Black America. So
Yes,
sir. So first, before we go further, Stuart, family, if you're just coming in, welcome to Shifting the Culture of the podcast. I'm your host, Brother King Cam, and I'm here with my good brother, Johnny Stewart of the Black Unicorn Factory, and he is giving us insight into what we have been missing, what the government has discriminated against us with using policy, using law through Congress, because after slavery ended, it didn't really end. They just took you out of the physical shackles and the physical labor, but they kept you a slave by keeping you out of the knowledge, keeping you out of the policy, out of the wisdom, out of the know. And this is why knowledge is so important, because when you don't know, then you can be taken advantage of. And this is what has happened to us. So Brother Stewart is helping us to learn how we able to really close the wealth gap, because as you mentioned, the traditional vehicles that they give us, we've been doing that. We've been purchasing homes. We go to college, probably more than anybody else go to college. We follow the blueprint that they have given us, and the wealth gap has not gotten smaller. It's actually gotten exceedingly bigger. So clearly, what we've been given is not working. So Brother Stewart and Black Unicorn Factory have been able to find this hole, this loophole through the Jobs Act, and how we able to get access to it. So Brother Stewart, explain, to the family, how now fan vesting and crowdfunding can help us accomplish that goal. You can
Well,
use some
one of the
examples.
things that we had to do at Black Unicorn Factory is come and meet a person where they are. One, we know that there's financial barriers to investing, which was money. So we created a way to invest without money. But the other thing is that understanding. We had to make investing something that a person could easily relate to. Right now, most people in our community, a lot have grown up and have never seen a share of stock or had a share of stock in their life, but that becomes a financial literacy program built
Mm,
in inside of this app. When you download that stock, the literacy begins, the lesson begins. What we did was we said, what is it that's out there that most people, even little children, know about social media? I had a little niece, and she turned around. She's 6 years old. She told me she had a social media page. I'm like, how old are you? She said 6. I'm like, oh my goodness. They knew how to create social media pages, and if it's that easy that your small children can do it, and that's a new way to invest, we had to make it something that you could relate to.
right.
You
Yes,
can
sir.
relate to social media. Most people can relate to social media.
Hmm.
But if social media following became a way of investing, there's not a whole lot to explain. I don't need to explain to you how Facebook works. Most people out there can tell you how Facebook works.
Yes, sir.
But if I said joining Facebook became a new way to invest, you're like, oh, what? Of course I understand that. That's easy.
Hmm.
Even children know how to do that. So therefore, we had to make it something that they already understood. See, when you
Okay.
make something easily to understand, you make it easy for people to do.
Mm.
So we not only made it affordable, we took the word affordable affordable is out the question. We made it free. So now that it's investing without money, that's a paradigm shift because
Wow.
everyone will tell you that there's always a risk in investing.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that means what if we take money off the equation? We've
Hold on. Hold on.
de-risked the
Hold on.
whole
Hold on.
investment.
Hold on, Brother
Yes,
Stewart. So what you telling the people tonight is
yes,
that you can invest without having
yes.
to spend a dime.
Without spending a dime. Amen. Yes,
Wow. Now that's new. That's new, family. That's new, because
yes.
all of the investments that we learned about, is always required you to spend some money. So we learning now that we don't even have to spend money. Now you got to say, how does that work? How does that work through fan investing?
Well, very simple. When you go to followmeforequity.com, you can download the app from the Apple Store, or you can go to Google Play. And it's very simple. You download the app, and what I like you to do is there's a little 32-second video that says this is how it works. And all it's telling you is that you're now about to embark upon a new way to invest. All you have to do is click yes to invest. There's a button on it that says yes. When you click yes, there's a form where all they're asking you to do is put in your contact information. It's simple. You know what your contact information is: name, address, telephone number, and email. Once you've done that, then below that, there's terms, of course, because we have to always give terms when someone is going to, actually enjoin themselves to a company. But it's simple. Following is very easy to do. But now, when you click that button below the form, 30 seconds later, a certificate of stock pops up and says, congratulations, you are now a valued shareholder. It's
Mm.
that simple. This is the easiest investment strategy and program in the nation because one, anyone, whether you're working or not working, employed or unemployed, can invest now, and it doesn't take anything but a phone. And if you don't have a phone, that's okay too. You can go to your neighborhood cyber cafe and go to Follow Me for Equity also. This is not something that we make available to just Americans, but this is for anyone, anywhere from Ghana, Africa to like I said, to New Zealand. Anyone with a phone. And believe me, a lot of people from around the world are doing this too. But the thing is, Brother King, we wanted it to be something easily relatable, easily affordable, and therefore it would actually make it easy for people to do and understand. But of course, just once you've had a share stock in one company, you have access to over 100 companies. Because if you want stock in over 150 companies, all you have to do is click the opt in button. When you receive an email offering you the chance to opt in, you won't have to sign up with other companies 150 times. You just click one button and you just became a shareholder in hundreds of companies. It's that simple. We need a strategy that is lucrative and that it removes the risk and that it's easy to understand, because that's another impediment is people's understanding. But believe me, there are very few people walking around that don't understand what Facebook is. Very few. They know what it is, even if they don't use it, they know what it is. And they know that it's very easy to sign up. And but that has become social media engagement has become a new way to invest. So that's why we call it follow me for equity. And follow me for equity means follow is a term that's used in social media. Following. Everyone knows when you use the word follow, it means something related to social media. So we just wanted to make it easy. And there's other opportunities coming up all the time. This is a new way to invest, a new way to build wealth, and it's also a new way to close the wealth gap. And that's exactly what Follow Me for Equity is going to do. And the Jobs Act has given us governmental inertia that we now can turn around and get a grip on this thing that's getting out of control.
Yes, sir.
We have to invest because, like I said, we there are very few things that we have left to actually we don't have enough capital to do so. But Brother Cam, you were saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, we're talking about investing, and we heard from you, and even saw the books that you can get the 1,000x by investing your money. And now we're saying we
Mhm.
can do this via social media, right? So, you're able to follow companies and get that equity. So I have one question, and then I have a follow up. The question is, what do you say to those who say that investing in pre-IPO companies is risky? And because it's risky, that's not something that you necessarily will want to do. You know, so
Right.
especially for people who are new to investing. As you mentioned earlier, we don't have that financial literacy, and
Mhm.
we new to all of this. So now we jumping right into the game with pre-IPO investments.
Mhm.
What would you say to people like that?
Well, one of the things about that I would like a person leave your wallet at home, as we said on my classes. Leave your wallet at home, but bring your phone. The thing that I want them to understand is I need you to understand that if we take money out of your investing equation, we just took the risk out of it.
Mm,
So if you're concerned about risk, well, risk by doing put no money in at all. How are you going to lose any money we never put any in? We want you to, because in this scenario, you can only win. Then the second thing, here's the thing I want you to also understand. How can I lose? Even if I invested, I just signed up and how do I lose? Well, let me give you an example. Do you know that the companies in Follow Me for Equity and the Black Unicorn Factory are already pre-qualified to make it to Wall Street? They're not trying to go to Wall Street. See, as soon as you go to IPO,
hmm.
that's your payday. It's not years later. As soon as that company goes public, it's your payday.
Right.
So let's take it for instance. You invested. Your day that you get out is the day it went public. It's kind of like when a person takes a plane from here to from California to Las Vegas. When they get to Las Vegas, you know what they tell you? You can depart the plane. We're
Right.
here. When you are in pre-IPO investing, your departure date is the day you go public. But how do you know you're going to go public? We don't offer any stock in any company that's not already pre-qualified. So it's kind of like, how would you like to go to a race, a horse race, and find out that you can bet on the winner before the race even began? You'd be like, this is
Mm,
easy. I
right.
already know who the winner is. Well, if you know that the companies, you've looked at what the stock exchange requires, and you've looked at the company that you invested in, yes, this company's about to go. Why do I know?
Mm.
Because I've looked at the qualifications that it requires to get on, and I've looked at the qualifications of, and I've seen the things that the company has, and I know this one is going to make it because why? In Black Unicorn Factory, we don't turn around and apply to go public unless we already made the qualifications already.
Ah,
So it's almost like you're betting, and that's what investing is in a lot of cases. It's like betting. But if you could bet on a horse and they already told you before the race began what the winner is, what are you worried about? And then
mm,
imagine them saying, you ain't got to put no money on the horse. Just go up there and tell them that you want to bet on that horse, but you ain't got to put no money on it. How you gonna lose? Think about it.
oh
Betting
man,
on a company to go public that has already told you and showed you that it's pre-qualified, and now all you had to do was download it to get equity in it. That's like choosing a racehorse who's already won the race
yes sir.
and didn't have to put no money on it to bet on it.
And it
Can't make
says,
it any better. I'm sorry.
and it
Can't
says
make
that
it any
the
better. It's like lotto. You don't win unless you play. The thing is you don't win in this unless you turn around and get involved.
right, and it says that the
So I
qualification
wanted to
is you
just
need at
answer
least
about
two
that,
thousand.
thing.
Yeah, you need at least 2,000 shareholders in the company. So when you look
Mhm.
at those people who already have personal brands or companies and they have way over 2,000 people who are following them on social media, then
Mhm.
that's a pre-qualification that the company is going to be
It's
able to meet the
pre-qualification.
threshold. It's just about
Mhm.
you now shaping and forming the company
Mhm.
so that it's able to now take those followers and turn them into shareholders. Wow, look at
That's
that.
correct.
Look at that.
Yeah,
Look
so
at that.
that
We take the
if you look at it,
yeah.
like I said, betting on companies, companies right now is like saying which one of them is going to be successful. When you take a company to the stock market, it's like taking it to Super Bowl. Nobody knows who's going to make it. But if you knew ahead of time going in that, like I said, your horse is already one is going to be the one that's winning the race, and this race ain't even started yet, or you know that this team that you're betting on is already 14 and 0, you're 14 and 0, and even if they lose the last game, they're still going to the playoffs or to the to the championship. You're getting a chance. That's why we did it the way we're doing it. We wanted to pre-qualify every single company in Black Unicorn Factory. There's no other program in the nation that has over 150 companies, and every last one of them. Look at the video tonight. Go to followmeforequity.com and it'll tell you every single company in our program can easily make the market. So you don't have to worry about if it'll make the market like a lot of these companies. Just look at the financials. They all make the market. You're betting on a winner. And that's if you're gonna bet your money, bet on something that you already know. I don't have to worry about if they're going public and I'm gonna get paid. I've already seen the financials. I've already seen they've already applied already. They're going. So
Mm,
I want people to know if you want it, that's financial literacy. Check out a lot of these companies. A lot of companies, Brother King, are worthless. I see a lot of companies that they got great ideas. They got a lot of razzle and dazzle. But one of the things that they don't have is they don't have any assets. They don't have any shareholders. And many of these companies are selling you on gimmicks, and we're in this for making money, for making profits. If you
mm,
in my classes and amongst those that are in Black Unicorn Factory, it's important that you understand how to look at a person's financial. The financial statement is key to understanding whether or not you should invest in a company or not. If you go and
absolutely.
look at a company's financial statement and you see 26 zeros from the top of the page to the bottom, do you think it's really going to make it to the market with zeros from the top to the bottom?
No, sir.
Really? I mean, and they're talking about, well, it doesn't, but we've got a brand new product that can razzle, that does, all bells and whistles. Many of them are trying to bedazzle you with their brilliance while they beat you across the head with this con that they're running.
Right.
When you buy a stock in a company that's worthless, you just gave your good money for something that was basically no more than toilet paper. And then a lot of these people that are telling you to invest, they have no intention, Brother Cam, of ever going public. And to me, I'm surprised that a lot of these companies that are selling stock in them are not on American greed or stock locked up by the SEC or the
Wow.
FBI, because they're selling. Look at the financial statements, people, please. You'll see that when you see a financial statement with zeros on it, back up and leave it alone. You're never going to see your money. You're never going to see your money. And if somebody told you honestly, when you give me the money for your company, you're never going to get it back or see it, you would probably pull back. You have to
Absolutely.
go into investments knowing this thing is going to make it to the promised land. The promised land for businesses is the Wall Street. And when you
Mm.
look at our financials of anybody in Black Unicorn Factory, they far exceed the qualifications to go public. Because,
Yes,
like I
sir.
said, there's no point in applying to go public and you don't qualify. That's a waste of people's time and money. So, therefore, we start from day one building a company that is ready to go to the market. We're building it for the going to the market. So, therefore, and that's a matter of integrity. We want to see investors get a return on their investment. A lot of people are just about getting their money and they don't care if the investor gets his money back because they know that in investing, as soon as you sign what is called a subscription agreement, you're indemnified if you lose people's money. So they can't come after you with criminal charges or lawsuits because you signed off all your rights to your money on what is called a subscription agreement. So you have a huge con job going on around where people are talking about how amazing their new revolutionary product is. The
Mm.
thing is, when you're beginning to invest and invest through the app, this is a whole process of learning. We have to teach you along this journey how to identify a bad company from a good one. When you see a company that has large amounts of revenue, it has lots of value assets,
Mm.
it's been appraised, it has press releases about it. That's great company. What you're doing right now is looking at companies that have no press releases, no assets, no revenue. Just started yesterday. I'm like, oh my goodness. So those are dangerous. You Financial literacy is not just about knowing how to balance a checkbook
Right.
and things like that, and knowing what your FICO score is. Financial literacy part 2.0 is wealth literacy. You have to know how to evaluate good companies from bad. And when you become an investor through one of the apps, the education begins. We
So go
have to
back.
teach you how to identify
Yes,
good
sir.
and bad companies.
So go back to that FICO because me and you was having a conversation offline where you brought up the FICO score and where there's another part component to this wealth building thing. So just go into your thoughts on FICO and credit and things like that.
Well, most people are maybe not aware that credit's real name is debt. That's its
That's
real
right.
name.
That's the real. That's
It's
what it
called
really is.
credit, aka debt. But here's the thing about it. Ask anyone. Debt does not make you richer. While you have people that are telling you right now that you need to build your credit, what they're really saying to you is build debt. And
Mm.
after they tell you to build your debt, I mean, build your credit, right?
Mhm.
Then after you build it, you know what they're going to tell you next? Go out and
What's
get
that?
more. Yeah, go out and get more. Build your credit so you can go out and get more credit. But really, what it's really saying is build your debt and go out and get more debt. But debt does not make richer, debt makes poor. And
Yeah.
what happens is, even scripturally, it says that the borrower is a servant to the
To the
lender.
lender.
We
That's
have
right.
got a nation of debt collectors that, like I said, we've been told by these misleaders that what they need to do is to build up their FICO in order to close the wealth gap. I couldn't believe it. I almost fell out my chair. That a well-known speaker just recently said, if you want to live a long life, get a 700 FICO. I'm like, huh? They even said that. I don't want to say the name of the book because it's out right now on Amazon.
Yes,
He
sir.
turned around and said, if you get a 700 FICO, you'll live longer. I'm like, really?
Mm, mm,
But
mm.
they'll tell us anything. They'll tell us anything out there in the world. But a FICO score will not close the wealth gap. It will actually increase the wealth gap. What we're talking about doing, I want our community to get away from borrowing. You should
Right.
be borrowers. I mean, lenders and not
Lenders.
borrowers. That's what it says. The thing is, I want our community to buy homes without mortgages, buy cars without financing, and be able to afford the things that they want in their life. But that comes from investing.
Mm.
We have to demyth, like I said, we have to unbrainwash our people from having to think that the only way that they can pay for a house is financing. That's about the end. And you're about to see, and I know, like I said, you're about to see more of the African American and Black millionaires and billionaires than you've ever seen in the history of the United States because of the Jobs Act.
Yes, sir.
Most people like that. They may not like that, Brother King. They don't have to respect. You don't have to turn around and like it, but you damn sure got to respect it. Excuse me.
Yes,
But the
sir.
fact
Absolutely.
is, it's going to happen, like it or not,
Yes,
because
sir.
people are going to find out about the Jobs Act and they're going to do it. They're going
And
to
let me
try it because why? What do I have to lose? You
and let
need
me
to go
just
to the
add
App
this.
Store tonight and download the app because what do you really have to lose?
And I just want to add
Brother
this
King?
little piece to it because my teacher said that debt is slavery. So the minister has told us that debt is slavery. So if we understand that FICO or credit equals debt, then while those may be good tools to use, we cannot rely on them because ultimately, if you're relying on debt, if you're relying on these things, you're ultimately going to remain a slave. So as you mentioned, the scripture says that the borrower will be a slave to the lender. And the scripture
That's correct.
teaches us to be lenders and not borrowers,
And
and that we would feed multiple families, and that we would, have an abundance of wealth. So, in order to do that, you can't be a borrower, you have to be a lender. And in order to be a lender, you can't be in debt. But the problem is, as you mentioned, you are living in a debtor nation. See, this nation is in debt, and everything that has been built at this point is based on the debt. This is what the interest is all about, and the inexorbitant amounts of interest is designed to keep you a slave. It's designed to keep you in debt so you can never become a lender but forever be a borrower. So you always financing cars, you always financing houses, you always financing things that you need to live, but it keeps you a slave. So that's very that's
Brother
very
King,
important.
when you mentioned about interest rates,
Yes,
I
sir.
call it interest waste. You understand
Mm,
me? They rob us of our generational wealth through interest waste, and that's exactly what it's doing. Is it robs you little at a time over time. Also, the problem that you have with a FICO is time and money. Because your FICO is not a high score when you start out, they use that against you to turn around and cause you to pay higher amounts of money back to them to 18%, 22%, 29%. That's how they rob you of
right.
the wealth that could be left for your children. And
As you
then they
trying to
take
grow the
2 years
FICO, this is
to
happening while
three
you trying to
years, yeah,
grow the
2
FICO.
years to 3 years while they slowly rob you.
Mm-hmm.
And they rob you for 2 or 3 years of the money that you could have put into, and you could have easily put into a pre-IPO investment and you wouldn't have
Wow.
even needed that credit card anymore. But as I said, these misleaders, that's who I charge with because they're telling you something that would, you know how long it takes to go from zero and build AAA credit? 2 to 3 years. If you
Mm.
were to take the small amount of money, I want you guys to notice this. Brother Damon John has a video where he turns around and says $50 could make you $3 million on a pre-IPO investment. I know you got $50. But if you were to put it in and make $3 million, you would drop every credit card you got because you don't need their money. But the things about it is, they don't want you to know. Why do you think that there are over 400 books that talk about the Jobs Act on Amazon right now? Over 403 books. And
Mm.
not one of them has the chapter 7 in it that says, tell us. You think that's a coincidence? The way that they can keep an advantage over you is keep you ignorant. But that's why I wrote my book called, you hear my book, A
Yeah,
Snitch on the
snitching.
Rich. And
Snitching on the rich.
exactly, I'm going to tell, I'm going to tell, I'm going to tell. Because I need for us, somebody needs to tell us so we can wake up and begin to drop these antiquated, dull, low paying investment strategies that a lot of all these people are just regurgitating that haven't worked since we were emancipated. My
Mm.
thing is, you know what they, as a brother King, that they call insanity?
What?
Don't they say that insanity is to do the same
Same
thing
thing over and over and
and
over
over,
again with the
expecting
same
a different
result,
outcome?
expecting a
We
different
have
outcome.
not moved from being the poorest community in the nation since the emancipation. We have been in that last place position for over 157 years, and you're still telling us to buy houses, fix your FICO, go get college degrees. Up, stop it. Just stop it. Somebody, we need a new coach, a new teacher. We need some new rules in the game, and that's
Mm.
what exactly the job is. The Jobs Act is. It's letting you now be on a level playing field. And one of the things that I had a class about was about Article 15. Article 15 was the article passed by Abraham Lincoln that gave you 40 acres and a mule.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't understand the significance of what that is, and I want to compare it to the Jobs Act. You see, you can't give a man 40 acres and a mule and think that that's going to pay you back for 400 years of slavery. That's not going to happen. So they weren't trying to pay you back with 40 acres and a mule for all we've done to you. What they were trying to do was level the playing field. See, other people in other communities, they had land, they had a way to make a living. We were just free. But we had nothing. We possessed nothing in this country. And as long as we possessed nothing, we felt like we aren't anything. So he said to make these people feel like all other Americans feel, we want them to have something that all other Americans have. And that's a place to live, a
Right.
place to make money. And I was trying to level the financial, here it is, the financial playing field. What
Mm-hmm.
President Obama did with the Jobs Act was he wanted to level the financial playing field. It's not fair that they should make 100,000%. You should make 4 or 5%. That's not fair. You should be able to make 100,000% too.
Mm.
But they kept the law, Regulation D, in effect. And Part 2 of Regulation D, you got to read it, says not to even tell anybody that's not an accredited investor. You can go to federal prison for telling somebody who's broke about investment to pay 100,000%. You didn't know that? Most people
Wow.
didn't know. Regulation D, what does it stand for? Discrimination.
Discrimination.
That's what exactly. That's what it
Discrimination.
stood for. And it still stands for it until you say the words the Jobs Act. And now Regulation D has been deregulated. And it's now financial inclusion. As you said, they first put us, enslaved us through physical slavery. Now it's fiscal slavery. This is the law. I mean, like I said, Abraham Lincoln let pass the Emancipation and gave us physical freedom.
Mm-hmm.
President Obama gave you fiscal freedom. And this is Juneteenth to a certain degree all over again because our people still didn't know that they had financially, this man had financially opened the door to close to make all the what is called the American dream really what it is.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
so
sir.
now, when someone comes along with enough creativity and courage to turn around and allow you to download an app and do this thing, you need to not walk, but run. Run as fast as you can to go and get that app and get started and start to learning. That's what you need to do. And tomorrow, the next time you put your money into an investment, ask yourself, did you get 100,000% on that? Because if you didn't, you should have probably invested in pre-IPO investing. I want
Mm.
you to feel bad about the next investment you invest in. I want you to feel real bad about it because you know you could have done better.
Yes, sir.
So when you
So
know better, you do better. And now you guys know to do better. You know to do better now. So now that you know better, I expect you to do better. Download the app and begin the journey of learning how to invest in the most lucrative investment in history, pre-IPO investing. And let's change the generation game. Okay.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let me ask you this, brother Johnny, as we close and now do how do the people get connected with those businesses or brands that they want to be able to invest in? Because you mentioned social media, you mentioned, a lot of the celebrities, entrepreneurs, influencers that have followings. So
Yes.
now how are the people who own the business, the influencers or, the
Yes.
athletes or whoever
Well,
with the
that
influence, how
that's
do they yeah.
yeah. That's next week. How we can turn an influencer into an influencer billionaire. I call them social media billionaires.
Gotcha, gotcha,
And this
gotcha.
is the new. That's next week's subject. I was, you gotta let the cat out of the bag.
Right.
But next week we're gonna show that you're gonna go from social media to Forbes magazine.
mm.
And like I said, your fans are gonna help you get there. We anticipate more black billionaires and black millionaires than you've ever seen. Black and brown. Like I said, I just love what's about to happen. I'm so delighted inside, because I'm just digging the skin that I'm in. I'm just going to say that I really look forward to what we're about to do and I
Absolutely.
hope that they will investigate and they will not let something of what a poor person's philosophy of if it sounds too good to be true, it's not challenge your assumption. That's what I say, Brother King.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you put a pin in it right there. Man, we got much to look forward to for next episode. And the comment section is going crazy. They said, man, great episode tonight. So many gems. So many gems. One of the brothers mentioned something that we're taught in our lessons. It says, why does the devil keep teaching, keep our people illiterate? And that's exactly what has happened. They kept us illiterate and ultimately created a wealth gap where they was able to get so far ahead of us. So, that's important. People in the comment section said, I downloaded the app. Look out for the black unicorn. People asking for the app. How do I find the app? Yes, sir. So this was beautiful. All right, family. Well, we have reached the end of our time tonight with Brother Johnny, but he's going to be joining us next week for part 3 in this series of closing the wealth gap.
Social media billionaire.
That's right. So next week we're going to talk about social media billionaires, family, and how you be able to make that money. So we not going to talk about too much, but make sure you tune in and you tap in with us next week, same time, same place. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube to follow us. Make sure that you hit the bell so you can stay notified. It's just in case YouTube start acting funny with the notifications. And then make sure you subscribe. Now, at the bottom of the list, you see the number scrolling. It says STC Podcast. You're able to get opportunity to be a part of our community so that even if you don't get the YouTube notification, you'll get the text message that we're on and live and you're getting these gems from Brother Johnny Stewart. And as you can see, we have the QR code for Black Unicorn. So if you missed the website, you can just hit that QR code up there in the top right-hand corner, and that will take you directly to the website, family, so that you can get more information and that you can stay involved and tapped in. Love you too, brother Nathan, always supporting the show as well. See, Brother Nathan gonna be one of them first millionaires, for supporting the good brother, for Brother King Cam, for investing in our company. Brother Nathan gonna be one of them millionaires, brother. You know what I'm saying? By following this method, you know what I mean? Because he already been tapped in. So we appreciate it, family, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you, Brother Johnny, for spending some time with us again. We look forward to talking with you next week as well. Thank you again, family. Peace.
Okay. Have a good night.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. They see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Them back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still wanna think our history started when we were slaves? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting